In an industry stuffed with marketing bullshit, empty promises, and Chinese-suited liars, one woman's had enough. She knows what it's like to have the wrong clients, no money, and no time for fun. But she also knows how to fix it. And on the Business for Superheroes show, she promises to tell the down and dirty truth about business, sales, and running away with the circus. Here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the Business for Superheroes show. I'm Vicky Fraser and this is my husband Joe.
Hello.
Hello. Joe and I are drinking. What are we drinking?
I don't know. I made the wrong tea.
Oh, I don't think it's the wrong tea at all. We're drinking herbal tea. What flavour is it? We thought it was Rooibos, but Joe thought it might be Rooibos, but then
it came out of the box with that on it.
So yeah, you could expect it to be that, but clearly I have rearranged the tea.
It tastes a bit like...
Is it chamomile and lavender?
It might be. Steeped socks. It's a bit odd.
It's not steeped socks. It's very nice. I like herbal tea. I know you like herbal tea as well. Do you not
I like
this
many
one?
of them. This one's a bit odd.
Okay. Well, thanks for making me think that I'm now drinking steeped socks. That's great. So yeah, we are drinking herbal tea because we're doing the alcohol experiment, aren't we?
Well, are we really doing the alcohol experiment?
Yeah, I mean, I've not
been like writing things down and looking at the website and stuff.
No, nor have I. But there is a thing called the alcohol experiment, and so our aim is not to give up drinking completely and be totally teetotal.
Christ, no.
Can you be totally teetotal?
I can't be, no.
Well, that's worrying in itself. But we just want to change our habits, don't we?
I think, yeah, just the assumption that we'll have a glass of wine, or the assumption that we'll have a beer, or just be a bit more conscious about the booze that we drink.
Yeah.
I think that's my purpose anyway. I don't know. I think that's yours mostly.
That is mostly mine, yeah. And yeah, so I have not been sleeping very well for ages, I guess. And I just got fed up of it because, sleep deprivation is used by torturers for a reason, because it is torture. And I just got to the point where I was just really fed up of sleeping badly. Mm-hmm. And I've just read so much stuff that people have said, since I've stopped drinking, I sleep so much better, and, I'm less anxious and all that kind of thing. And I thought, well, that sounds great. So I think, because I've done dry Januaries and stuff like that before, but I've always struggled. And I think it's because I've approached it from a place of denial. Mm-hmm. And I've been like, I must not drink, and I've beaten myself up if it's, and I've been, I've been a bit anxious almost about not drinking, which in itself is a worry. Yeah. Because I'm not an alcoholic and I don't drink to excess very often. But I just thought, well, if that's my relationship with alcohol, then I don't want it to be like that.
Press the reset button.
Yeah. And so we've been alcohol-free for 2 weeks now. We went down to stay with Kevin and Vicky. Hi guys. Kevin. Hi, Vicky. I had a lovely weekend with them and had a couple of glasses of wine. And while I was actually drinking them, I was kind of analysing what I was doing. I was like, am I actually enjoying this? And I enjoyed the taste, because I do like red wine. I like nice red wine. Mm-hmm. But even as I was drinking, I was like, I do not like the sensation that goes with it. I don't like the sensation of... Well, I just don't like the sensation that alcohol creates, basically. And then the next morning, I wasn't hungover because, I had literally a couple of glasses.
Yeah, but, shared a bottle of wine between 3 people or something. And
yeah, but I still woke up feeling a little bit fuzzy. Mm. And I don't like that fuzzy. And so that was really interesting. And so I've not struggled at all or even felt weird about not drinking this week. And I've just felt pretty good every day, apart from I didn't sleep very well last night because the wind kept me up.
It was stormy, wasn't it? Mm. Yeah. For me, it's just resetting the habit. Just removing the assumption that I'll have we'll drink a bottle of wine on a Tuesday, or we'll do whatever, have a couple of beers on a Friday. Just resetting that assumption. Yeah. is worth doing for me. Yeah. And I'm not finding it in the slightest bit difficult, and it's not a problem. I do kind of, I quite like a beer. I quite like a glass of wine, but there's absolutely no bother not.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because if they could, I think we need to move towards Star Trek and synthahol, where you can have a glass of wine that tastes like a glass of wine without it actually having alcohol in it, and a beer that, because I really like lager, especially on a hot summer's day, and it's got nothing to do with the alcohol. It's just cold and it's bubbly and it tastes like lager, and I really like it.
Yeah, we had a Heineken lager the other day, and whilst it tasted like lager, it didn't feel like lager to me.
You see, I think that's really interesting, because to me it felt no different at all from having a beer.
Yeah, no, it felt like, I don't know.
That's weird, isn't it?
It didn't quite work for me. It tasted the same, but was just like, I kind of didn't get it.
Oh, it worked really well for me. So this has been really interesting, and I'm now wondering if we should just change this podcast and talk about habits and stuff, actually, because I had another topic in mind, but we've been talking about this for 6 or 7 minutes now, and I think if we switch to something else, it might be a bit odd. What do you think?
I don't know. Depends whether you can ad-lib for 20 minutes on habits.
Well, I can, because that's the alcohol experiment isn't the only thing that I've been doing. And I also wanted to talk a little bit more about the alcohol experiment as well, because I very much like what she's doing. Because like I said, I'm not on the website and doing the thing yet, but I get emails from her regularly, and she talks, the way she's done it, her name's Annie Grace, and the way
Hi, Annie.
Hi, Annie. And the way she's done it is, I don't know, it just doesn't come from a place of judgment at all, which is a really good thing. And I think, again, because it, when I've struggled before, it's because I've been thinking I have to deny myself alcohol. And even the very name, the alcohol experiment, makes it okay to fail.
Well, it's an experiential test, isn't it? It's just like what happens if, what happens when, rather than I've made a decision and I'm not going to drink. It's just let's see what happens when I choose not to.
Yeah.
For a bit.
Exactly.
Perhaps. It's not a pass or a fail thing, is it?
No, and I think when you do something like I'm going to give up drinking, it is a pass or fail thing. It's like, and so the whole position that she comes from is of not judging, not being, shouty and pointy about it, but more like, well, you know what? If you do have a drink, then it's not like you've gone back to square one. Okay, your day one starts again, but that's not a bad thing. It's like, okay, so what happened? Why did I have a drink? How did it make me feel? Did I enjoy it?
Yeah, I think about what happened before you had a drink and...
Yep. Yeah. I've got the book to read as well. I'm going to start on the book probably later tonight, actually, because Cyan, hi Cyan.
Hi Cyan.
Very kindly sent me a copy because she had 2 copies of it. So she sent me a copy. And I know a few of my superheroes have, since I've said that I'm doing this alcohol experiment thing, have kind of messaged me and said, you know what, I haven't had a drink for a few years now, and it's made a really big difference. And I was really surprised, actually. I'm very surprised, because it's the thing that I've found very interesting is that it's the only drug that you have to justify not taking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when you say to people, oh, actually, I'm not drinking at the moment, they either assume you're pregnant if you're a woman, or they assume you're an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And it seems to be that you can't just say, actually, I don't drink. And I know that Annie from Pure Studios will be really interested in this, because Annie doesn't drink at all. Hi, Annie.
Hi.
And
I don't know. I know a couple of people who just don't drink, and it's no big shake, no great shakes.
Well, you do, because they've told you, but there aren't that. What has surprised me is that since I've kind of come out as not drinking for 2 weeks,
climbed out of the boozy wardrobe.
That's the title of this podcast, climbing out of the boozy wardrobe. But since I've said that publicly, it's surprised me that I've had a few people say, actually, yeah, I'm alcohol free as well. And that's an okay thing to be. Because it's not, you know what I mean?
It's unusual. It is
unusual. But, there's social pressure as well. Because, if you're out with friends and everyone's drinking and they're like, oh, what do you want from the bar? And you're, oh, I'll just have a lemonade or a lime and soda. Almost every time you'll either get mocking, or be like, I'm not going to the bar to order a lime and soda, or, oh, come on, just have a drink. Just have one. And that's the time when I think a lot of people are like, oh, God, okay, just because it's easier to do so.
Yeah.
And I think that level of social pressure, I don't like it very much.
No, and you shouldn't do it to your friends.
You shouldn't do it to your friends. So if you're listening and you're one of those people who's like, oh, go on, just have a drink, please don't. Yeah. It's because it's like, I've seen this before when I used to work in offices and things, and somebody would be, trying really hard to lose weight and be good and not just, and there would always be somebody who'd be like, oh, go on, just have a bit of cake, it won't hurt you. And that's just that's passive aggressive apart from anything else. And
it's mean.
It's mean and unsupportive. And so, yeah, I'm really interested. Like I said, I'm approaching this from an experimental point of view because I want to see if I sleep better, if I'm more alert, if I have more energy, and I'm already finding actually that I have all of those things.
Okay.
How have you noticed any differences?
To be honest, not really. I guess.
But you can sleep anywhere. You can sleep in a hurricane.
I'm pretty good at sleeping. It's one of my talents. I guess. No, not really. I haven't noticed much difference. I go to bed feeling a little bit less, scuzzy, I suppose. But
scuzzy. Can you define scuzzy?
Well, when you kind of have the last half a glass of wine to finish the bottle off, so that you don't have half a glass of wine in the bottom of a bottle.
Yeah, because of the vinegar fly.
And then because of the vinegar fly, I'll get it, and that's no good. So you kind of, that's that one that you have, and then kind of think, well, I didn't really need that. Didn't really want that.
That's the thing, yeah, they didn't really want that. Just done it for... So if you hear typing, it's because I don't want to forget the title, Climbing Out of the Boozy Wardrobe, and I'm terrified that I will. Hang on. And you can all be amazed at my typing speed, which this morning was 73 words per minute.
Really?
It was. And that leads me neatly on.
Another habit.
To my next habit.
Oof.
Yeah, I know.
Newly developing habits.
I was more impressed with the smooth segue into the next section.
It was an entirely accidental segue as well.
I know. And this, by the way, I literally have no notes on this podcast because it really was going to be about something else. So I'm quite pleased with this. So yeah, along with the no alcohol habit, or the changing of the alcohol habit, I think I shall call it, I also have signed up for, because I'm currently in Bookaholics Anonymous, we're reading The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
Okay.
And it's all about creativity and kind of bringing your creativity out and all the rest of it, because a lot of people think they're not creative, and that's not true. We all are creative, we just don't all use our creativity. And so one of the things that she recommends that people do is morning pages.
Right. Morning pages.
Yeah. Writing 3 pages before you do anything else.
3 whole pages?
Yeah, and I think she does it longhand, and I'm like, nah, my arm would drop off if I did that, so I type it. But there is a website called 750words.com. I'm pretty sure somebody recommended it to me, and I'm pretty sure I should remember who it is, so I really apologise to whoever recommended it to me, who I'm not now shouting out to.
Possibly... But if that was you, well done.
Yes, it might have been John Holcroft, because he is the source of all sorts of cool stuff.
Hi, John.
Hi. He is one of my superheroes, and he is amazing. But yeah, 750words.com, and it's free for the first month, and after that it's a whopping $5 a month.
Mm-hmm. What's the premise? What's going on? The
premise is it's a habit builder. So you sign up, you get yourself a little account, and the way it works is great actually. And so you just type a minimum of 750 words every day. And I do it first thing in the morning because it's based on Julia Cameron's morning pages. So my routine now is to drag my carcass out of bed before my brain realises what's going on, straight into my running gear, straight out the door for what I laughingly call a run, but what is actually a stagger for a maximum of 10 minutes.
Right.
And I do that because when I started doing that a few months ago, it just clears my brain. It's just fresh air. Fresh air first thing in the morning. And I've actually noticed a difference because this morning I did not go for my run. Because I had a bad night's sleep last night and I had a call at 8 o'clock this morning and I didn't think I'd be able to fit everything in before the call, the client call. And I noticed that when I got in, or when I went into the bathroom, when I got into the shower, I just felt like crap. And I know I am 100% positive that if I had gone for my little run this morning, I would have just felt a lot more refreshed before I got in the shower.
Sure.
So that's another habit that I am now doing, and I've missed literally just today. I'm doing that every weekday. I'm not doing that at the weekends, deliberately. So I do that, and then the next thing I do is I come in and I do my 750 words. And that's like a shower for my brain.
Okay.
So I just get all of the crap out of my head and onto that document, this online document. And, it saves it. It's totally confidential. It saves it. You can export it and all the rest of it. So if you want to use it as a means to write a novel or whatever, then that's a really good thing to do because it's just getting you into the habit of writing every single day. And I write every day anyway because I'm a writer and it's how I earn my money. But for this purpose, I just use it as like a stream of consciousness. So I start it off and I'll talk, every morning I talk about what I'm grateful for. And I think that's super important because even if you're in a really shitty mood or you've had bad dreams or you don't feel very well, acknowledging what you're deeply grateful for just puts you in a different frame of mind.
Sure.
And I find that super useful. So I do that. I talk about all of the things that are bothering me. So if I'm worried about stuff, I'll get it out of my head and get it onto that paper. And as soon as you see it written down in words, it becomes less important. Because when stuff's kind of roiling around in your brain, it just takes on. It's proper mountain out of molehill stuff,
sure.
you know? And whatever is in your head is never as important as it seems once you get it out into the world. And it's not, by the way, this isn't to the world for, everybody, for anybody to see. It's just
for you.
It's journaling, yeah. And, I'll talk about the things that I'm excited about. And if I've got things that I need to remember, I'll write them down because I know that then I'm not going to forget them and I don't have to keep them in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've freed up that mental space. It's honestly super useful. I cannot tell you how much more productive I've been this week.
That's cool.
Because of probably a combination of all these things, but particularly because the 750 words just puts me in a different frame of mind.
And you've done something. You've achieved a thing and you move on to the next thing and you're all warmed up and off you go. Yeah.
And if you, by the way, this is also research for stuff that I want to do because I've got a bunch of ideas about helping people write books and things and how this is going to work. The alcohol experiment is feeding into it because I like the idea that it's an experiment and you don't beat yourself up. And the 750 words habit also is super important because it takes some people long. It takes me maximum of 20 minutes to do that. It took me, I think, 10 minutes this morning because
I was going to say, if you're doing 72 words a minute, then you're doing it in like 11 minutes, aren't you?
This morning I did. I don't normally do it that quick, but I knew that I had a call at 8 o'clock. I was like, I need to get these words out. So it was like more incoherent than usual. But yeah, if you've got clients and you want them to do something regularly to get a result, then help them build habits. Because I'm only 14 days into this collection of habits at the moment. So I cannot sit here and say, yes, it's working and it's going to stick because I think experts say you need around 60 repetitions for it to kind of become an ingrained habit.
Just become the way you do things.
Yeah. But as long as I can keep this up, it's going to become a thing that I do. And the fact that I know that I feel better when I've done them is...
That's cool.
Yeah, it's super important. Have you noticed a difference in me this last couple of weeks?
I don't really see this stuff, do I?
No, but how I am with you when you're at home.
Oh, crikey. I can't honestly say that I have, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I feel like I've been calmer and more positive.
You're normally calm as a Hindu cow.
Am I? That's not true. Jesus.
Maybe I'm just filtering that out.
Maybe you are.
Filtering out the crazy because I'm used to it.
Good Lord. Yeah, but the other thing that the 750 words website does very, very well is they encourage you. So there are challenges every month, so you can join the monthly challenge, and then you have your name up on the wall of awesomeness if you carry on with it, and if you drop out of it, you go on the wall of shame. And it's just a little jokey thing, but so. I think this month in February they had 500 odd people sign up for the challenge, and there's we're only 7 days in, and there's only at the time of recording. When's this going out? Jeepers. We're probably, anyway, many days in. Some days in. And at the time of recording, there are only 300 odd left in it.
Right.
And, I'm determined to be one of the few that makes it through.
So what's the challenge? What is it?
It's just write your words every day for the month. Yeah. Okay. And so you can kind of sign a little agreement that says, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to reward myself with X. I'm going to reward myself with a bath at my friend's place. She doesn't know that yet, but I know that she'll say yes. And if I fail, then my kind of forfeit will be that I will donate $10 to the website because it's very low cost and all the rest of it. So, okay. So there's that. But they also, when you log in every day, you have an X for the month, and so you want to keep your streak up. You can see your stats every day when you log in. You get badges. So I'm a flamingo at the moment, which is so fucking appropriate. I'm a flamingo because I've had a 10-day streak.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they're doing all the right things to persuade you to maintain to build this habit, aren't they? Yeah,
and they email every day as well. So every morning I wake up to an email saying, "Let's write your words today," and it says, you've had a so many days streak and you've got this badge, and there are all these other people doing it as well, and it's just very nicely done.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's just given me so many ideas for getting people to write books and things. Because honestly, one of the main reasons that people fail to write books is they just don't finish them.
They just don't form that habit.
Yeah.
They fight their way through it. Tooth and nail. And
there are many reasons behind that, but building that habit is one of the big foundation steps, I think. So I have a really big idea that I'm quite excited about that I'm going to be kind of launching over the next 6 months or so.
Nice.
Yeah. So what else? So what other habit have I been building? So whenever I come back from my run, I'm doing stretching as well, because you know how desperately I want to be able to do my splits, and how utterly I've failed every year so far. It's like 2019 is...
Well, normally you try really hard and then injure something.
Yeah, I overdo it a little bit. Touch wood, I'm all right at the moment. Because I'm being very, very careful, because I don't want to injure anything. I've hurt my shoulder a little bit, but that isn't involved in the splits, so I don't care about that. So yeah, I need to stretch more if I want to get my splits. And our house is very cold. And so that's actually a legitimate reason for not stretching, because I will injure myself.
Yeah.
But as soon as I've got back from my run, when I'm warm, is the ideal time to do that. So as soon as I've got back, I do my active flexibility, and then I sit and do the world's most horrific stretch, which is where you have one knee on the floor, your kneecap is on the floor, your foot is against the wall, so you're squishing your foot into your butt, and then your other leg comes up in front, and it's just awful. So it stretches your quad and your hip flexor. It should stretch your hip flexor, but my quads are so tight that it stretches my quads, and it makes me want to vomit.
That sounds lovely. I'm glad I've gone to work by then.
But I have been doing it for so many days now that it is an order of magnitude less unpleasant than it was when I first started. So I know I can feel the progress. And so that's the other thing that I've inserted into my day is regular stretching.
Run, stretch, write 750.
Yeah.
Sounds
and then
good.
my reward is, while I'm writing my 750 after my run, my reward is a cup of tea while I'm writing, and then I go and have a shower, and then I crack on with my day. And I know that I also write my daily email during the same time, so 750 daily email, have a shower, and then I can crack on with my day, and I don't have to do any bitty things. It's like I know what I'm going to do next. And the other habit that I do every day, because we're on habits, is, and you can attest to me doing this, I don't go to bed until I've planned tomorrow, do I?
No, you don't. You don't.
And I've been quite careful about doing that. And on Sunday, I don't go to bed on Sunday without sketching out what the next week is going to look like, do I? And that has been just amazingly important, because it means that, and I've noticed that on the days when I don't do that, it's been a few weeks since I've not done that, but on the days when I don't do that, the next day is invariably a shit show.
Right. You get surprised by something, or...
It just starts off badly, because I don't go to bed and wake up knowing exactly what I have planned for the morning.
Sure.
And I don't like that, you know?
So how long, I mean, for anybody listening to this thinking, well, maybe I could do something similar, how much time do you spend on, the routines you're putting in place that make your day more productive before you actually, crack in with work?
Well, probably an hour altogether, but as a consequence of putting these routines in place and drinking less and going to bed a bit earlier, I'm now getting up a bit earlier, so I've got time to do them. And I've made time for them. And I think also the running, the stretching and the writing is a form of meditation, and
sure,
meditation is really important as well, because it's just kind of gives you that headspace. And I think there's a saying, and I think it was in John's email this morning actually that I read it.
Hi, John.
Hi, John. There was a saying, if you think you don't have time to meditate for 5 minutes, you need to meditate for an hour.
Right.
Because it's that busyness. And so I would say, if somebody's thinking I don't have time to do any of these things, then there is probably something in your life that you need to change and make space for, because a lot of that feeling of busyness and overwhelm, the hectic comes from just not being organised and from not giving yourself, we create, when you're feeling overwhelmed and panicky, you create busyness, and it's like a vicious circle. And so, if anybody, by the way, wants to ask me anything about this and, what I perhaps might recommend for them to do, you can drop me an email, because I answer all my emails. I might not answer it immediately, but I will answer it within a couple of days. And, I will happily answer any questions about this kind of thing, because it's just really, really important.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Good stuff.
Have you got any habits that work really well for you?
Oof.
It's just goldfish, aren't
It's just goldfish in my head, yeah.
We were talking to Kevin and Vicky, and Kevin said it's like goldfish as well, didn't he? Me and Vicky are like, what's wrong with you?
I quite like a bit of Radio 4 in the morning on the way to work. I don't really object to, because my commute is more or less an hour, and I don't really begrudge that, because it acts as a nice separator between dingle and sheep and all this kind of nonsense and stuff at work. I'm all right with it. So I'm not sure that's a habit, but it's definitely time where I think and learn things.
That's good. And then when you come home, when it's not, because it's dark obviously at the moment when you get home, but when you get home in spring and summer, you just go straight up to see the sheep, don't you?
Yeah, quite like a bit of a sit down in a field with some sheep. It's nice.
Yeah.
Should have been a shepherd.
Should have been a shepherd.
Yeah.
Well, technically you are now a shepherd. We can get more sheep.
Yeah.
Yay! So yeah, that's.
That was an impromptu swerve away from the planned podcast.
I think that podcast went more smoothly and more planned and more professionally than any of the ones that I've sat down and planned.
There was some smooth segues. It was nice.
There was some smooth segues. I did not expect that. Did you enjoy that?
That was good.
Yeah. I really, really hope that you found this podcast useful and helpful, and that if you are struggling with overwhelm and anxiety and that kind of stuff, I really hope that you've got something from this that you can take and put into place. If nothing else, I would really, really recommend spend 5 minutes, even if just 5 minutes of quiet time, and just journal in the morning. Get all the crap out of your head.
Yeah.
And onto a piece of paper, because if it's stuff that you're worrying about forgetting, then you won't forget it because you've written it down. And if it's stuff that you're worrying about because you think it's just really big stuff that's disastrous, I promise you'll look at it and it will not be as bad as you think it is.
Yeah.
Because you'll look at it written down and you'll be like, why am I spending so much energy on this? If somebody said something to upset you, if you're worrying about a friendship with somebody, whatever, write it down and you'll be like, you know what? I don't know why I'm worrying about this. I'm creating stuff that isn't necessarily true. So.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Right.
Next week, we will be back with, will writing a book make you rich? Which is what this week's podcast is going to be about. We're going to look at, will writing a book make you rich? And I'm going to tell you the answer to that and other questions too next week, because I am soon launching my new book.
Nice.
Which still has no name. Don't laugh.
You're going to have to come up with a name.
It's a book about how to write a book. And I'm going to be launching it in March, probably. I may push it back a little bit to April for legitimate reasons, not just because I'm procrastinating, because I'm actually really, really loving going through the book and editing it at the moment. I'm on the second draft and I'm loving it. I'm so excited. Really excited about it. I'm so proud of this book.
Good.
Because you've read it, haven't you?
I have. It's very good.
Thank you. And
almost all of it made sense.
Apart from you highlighted one line and I was like, yeah, I've got no idea what I meant when I wrote that. But yeah, I mean, Joe, you can trust Joe's judgment because he is very honest with me. He tells me quite often that I look like a chimney sweep, or I look like a homeless person, or I am like a crane fly. How did you put it? Spindly and neurotic and bumping into things.
Well, you were spindly and neurotic and bumping into things.
So, I mean, he's not wrong, but he's very honest. So, when he says my book's good, if it was a bag of crap, you would have told me, wouldn't you?
I would have said maybe we need to delay this a bit.
Yeah.
And we would have gone around it again a few more times.
Yeah. You probably wouldn't even have been that nice about it.
No, I probably wouldn't. I just want the dear listener, hi Vagard, to think I'm, a nice guy.
You are a nice guy. You're just sometimes mean to me. But yeah, I'm really proud of this book. I'm really, really proud of this book. And I'm putting a launch team together. I would like some beta readers.
Okay.
I already have 23 or 24, I think. I was going to limit it to 50 and I was going to put a date limit on it. But actually, I've decided that that's silly and I don't know why I decided that. I'm learning things all the time as I'm going through this launch because I'm doing it differently to how I did it last time. So if you would like to be part of my launch team, you'll get a free review copy of the book, a printed copy of the book, which will be totally unique. There'll be limited edition number of those because, I'll make changes based on the feedback that I get. I just want to know, what people think. do I need to change things? Is there stuff that I could explain better? Have I missed anything out? I'm not interested in comments on my writing style, because when writers get involved with telling other writers how to write, it means that they're like, well, if I'd written this book, I would do it like this. And that's actually not very useful, because
that's a different book. That's the book they would write.
It's a different book by a different person, yeah. But what I am interested in is this book helpful? It's all about how to write a book. It's a book about how to write a book. It's very meta. So if you would like to be involved, there'll be, by the way, all sorts of other goodies that I'm preparing for my beta launch team as well. I'm putting all sorts of goodies together that won't be available to anybody else. To say thank you. You'll obviously get your name in the book in the acknowledgements, because I'm going to be very grateful to you for your help. And I'm putting a community together as well. So you'll be, there'll be a Facebook group where you can talk about it and all of that kind of stuff, because I want to build a community. So if you would like to be involved in that, you can go to, you need to fill in just a short form, because I want to know a little bit about you. You can go to bit.ly/Moxie team, and that's bit.ly/MOXIETEAM. That's bit.ly/Moxie team.
Nice.
Thank you very much, guys. And finally, if you like this podcast, go to iTunes and subscribe and rate us 5 stars and leave us a review. We would really appreciate that. Or just simply share it.
Yep. Sharing's good.
Yeah, sharing is caring. We'll be back next week with a podcast all about will a book make you rich? Right, that's enough. I'm done.
You're done.
Bye.
Bye.
Like what you've just heard? Tell your colleagues, tell your friends, send them to www.businessforsuperheroes.com/podcast.